Hello there, YouTube. This is Aphex Technol once again. I'm not normally in the habit of releasing videos back to back like this, but I just happened to be digging in the garage while making the motherboard revision video there, and came across this, and I've had it in my collection for quite a while, and this is something kind of unique and special, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Now, as you can see, the box that this thing is in, this doesn't look like a box that US style Commodore 64s come in, and you'd be correct, because as you can see, it's got some Italian on it as well. This is actually the slide style boxes that European Commodore 64s come in, because as you can see, it's got a cardboard outer sleeve and a styrofoam insert. So let me open this thing up and show you guys what this thing is, because it's definitely something pretty weird. Alright, one thing I'd like to make a note of really quick. I am using a headset microphone now instead of the onboard microphone on this iPad. And as you guys have probably noticed from my previous videos, the audio quality is not that great when I'm using the built-in microphone on the iPad. So I've kind of upgraded to a headset microphone. So you should actually be able to understand me at a reasonable volume now, because before I know I had to crank the volume to actually listen to my own YouTube videos. So anyways, continuing on with the video here, I have the box opened obviously, and as you can see, we have a Commodore 64 in the plastic protective bag it came in originally, and we also have a European style wedge power supply. Here we got the RCA cable for the RF. There's the plug for the power transformer. As you can see, this thing has a European style Euro plug on it for 220 volt power. Now this is the strange thing with this power supply. I'm not sure how many European power supplies have this, but this one does. This one actually has a voltage selector switch on the bottom. So you can switch it from 120 or 220 volt. If you see the back of it here, well, excuse me, it must be 110, but it's selectable for 110 volts, but it's still only for 50 hertz power. So I can't obviously use this power supply here in America. I just use my standard aftermarket power supply that I use for all my Commodore 64s. But here's the interesting thing about this machine. Everything about this Commodore would lead you to believe that this is a PAL Commodore 64. And indeed, when I bought this thing on eBay, it's been a couple years now since I purchased it, I bought this in the hopes that it was a European PAL Commodore 64. The thing is, it's not. It's actually an NTSC machine. Now let me get the 64 out of the case here, and we'll examine it a little closer. Continuing on with the video here, I've got the machine removed from the box, and as you can see, this Commodore 64 is in as close to mint condition as you could possibly hope for. It's my estimation, if this machine was ever used, it was used like maybe once and put back in the box. Now something real quick to make a note of is there's a clue on the side of this box that has led me to formulate a hypothesis about these machines. Now since I originally obtained this machine, I've spoken to some other people, and I've also obtained a VIC-20 that's in the same state as this machine. The VIC-20 I found is a West German machine, and it's built exactly like you would find the European Commodore 64s. Or VIC-20s for that matter. The only thing is the VIC-20 is actually NTSC as well. So let me show you the clue on the side of the box and tell you what my theory is on these machines. Here's the clue on the side of the box. It's a little label that says, "Thank you, Army and Air Force Exchange Service." Alright, as you can tell, I've got the machine flipped around now so you can see the bottom side of it. Here's the serial label, which for some reason is upside down, but that's not totally uncommon because I see that on machines quite often. So the label on the side of the box, my theory is these Commodore 64s were put up for sale at base exchanges at overseas military bases. in that they were intentionally made NTSC in order that American service members who purchased it overseas could bring it back home with them and still use it in America. Now you can notice here through the vents that this machine still has the original metallized cardboard shield inside of it. Unlike NTSC machines, this machine, domestic NTSC machines rather, this one doesn't have the actual metal shield soldered to the ground plane of the motherboard covering the back of the board. This one only has the little metallized cardboard shield like PAL machines have in it. So that's another clue that this is just a really, really strange machine altogether. And I'll crack it open here and let you take a look inside. Alright, I have the top case removed. And as you can tell, this machine has the PAL style metallized cardboard protective cover / shield on it. And here's the board itself inside. It is absolutely immaculate. Now, it should be noted, when I received this machine, it was actually dead. And the thing is, the PLA in this machine is actually still good and works, which that's kind of impressive in itself. But something you'll notice here, I had to replace the 74LS257 memory multiplexers. This machine originally came with the famous MOS 7708 chips here and here. And as anyone who repairs Commodore 64s might know, the MOS made small TTL logic chips. In this case, they're clones of 74LS257 chips. They have a very notoriously high failure rate. So if you ever see those small TTL chips made by MOS in your Commodore 64s, particularly in this position here, what is it, U13 and U25, my advice to you would be to remove them because they have extremely high failure rates. But anyways, besides that, I didn't have to do anything else to this machine, and I've left it in as original condition as I possibly could, because it is not often at all that you find a Commodore 64 in as nice of shape as this one is. Like I said, this one is absolutely immaculate. It's almost perfect. And I've only seen, I can count on one hand and have fingers left over how many Commodore 64s that I've seen in this good a condition. So let me put it back together again and fire it up and show you that indeed it is an NTSC machine. The other thing is, you might be thinking, well, maybe somebody swapped the motherboard in this machine. And I'd be inclined to suspect that too, to a certain extent, but just based on how nice everything is inside this machine, I really don't think anybody tinkered with it. That, and I found other machines and talked to other people that have similar stories to this one. So these machines are out there. As to how many or their rarity, I'm not sure. I would suspect they're pretty rare. Like I said, you know, I happened to come across this one entirely by accident, and ever since I've owned this thing, it's always kind of puzzled me why this machine is otherwise completely European and yet it outputs NTSC. So anyways, let me plug this thing in and fire it up, and we'll conclude the video. So anyways, I have the machine hooked up on the bench here, and I have it running BlueMax, as you can see. Actually, I just crashed the plane a second ago. So yeah, anyways, there's BlueMax. And just as a bit of proof that this thing is NTSC, hello everybody. As my monitor tells you right there in the corner, this is indeed putting out an NTS signal. So anyways, I'm going to keep this one short. I just wanted to show this off to you guys. If anyone out there, you know, happened to have been in the military overseas and, you know, in the 1980s and knew of Commodore 64s that were being sold on base and that they would actually work on your American televisions or anything like that, I'd love to hear from you, because like I said, there's next to no information about these on the internet. I know of a few people that have found, you know, oddball NTSC, you know, Commodore 64s and VIC-20s. I actually have a VIC-20, like I mentioned, that's exactly like this. It's a West German made machine, all European looking, but it's NTSC. So yeah, like I said, if anybody's got any more information, feel free to leave a comment, and until next time, guys, thanks again for watching, and take care.